labour. Similarly, what I've done is on every rate I have done the very same. I've put a code in against my item so that it can associate that. And now you can see down on the bottom section here, Concrete Works, I've gone in and I have a specific code for 2020 and it's €45. So should you want to reflect last minute changes in your rates, this is the function to use. Before doing anything to the job, I would highly recommend that you come back to the job manager screen and make a copy of your job. So I'm just making a copy of my Block C, and I'm calling it Block C pre-change. Click OK. And all it means is that I can revert to the original or make a comparison to the original at any point in time. So before you use the update trade rates function, it would be very important to make a copy of the job so that you can revert to the original at any point in time. Spare me 2 seconds while this makes its change. Shouldn't be too long. Okay. So I don't know why that took so long, but my system was a bit slow this morning. So just to make a copy of your original job, as I say, prior to making any change. So I'm going to go into the original job here. And as you can see, I'm just going to make a note here of, say, in rate 1 there, you can see my excavator hire is €140 and my excavator labour per day is €85. Also, my concrete 2020 is 45 per cube. So once you're on your job summary screen, you go to the Tools drop-down menu and then Update Trade Rates. And again, just to reiterate that we will be sending you on some support documentation in support of this webinar, so it will cover this particular function. So in the Update Trade Rates, I'm just going to click on that option. There are a few top-level things you can do, which enter a percentage increase or decrease. This allows you to apply a percentage increase or decrease to a particular trade. And this isn't really what I'm trying to incorporate or have a look at today, but just these top-level functions can do that. If you wanted to, for instance, apply a markdown to a particular trade, you can use this top-level function to do that. If you wanted to add an amount to every rate, you can put in a value here and it would increase all the rates in the job by a given amount. And then if you wanted to set all your rates to a particular value, you can use that third option. Not used terribly much, but just to make you aware of those. What we're going to have a look at is the advanced option down the bottom right-hand corner here. So I'm just going to click on this option and it brings you into the Update Rates dialog box. The first thing you do is you load your code file. So I'm going to load my R2 code file. And into my Update Rates dialog box comes the code file that I have set up and are using for this job. Now I have a couple of options here. For instance, excavator hire, I'll just say better rate. And I'm going to set that rate to, say, €130. And that will reflect all the way through the job. Anywhere it finds this particular code, excavator hire, it will change the rate that is currently in the job to the rate you specify here. Equally, I'm going to say I got a discount on the rate there for excavator labour, and I'm going to make that €70 an hour. And finally, my concrete, well, no, what I'll do actually is I'll take that out of there and I'll decrease the excavator labour by 5%. So I just put in a minus 5%. And then my last option is my 2030 concrete. I'm going to set that, again, I'm going to just say I got a discount. And I'm going to set that to $39.50. So once you indicate what your rate changes should be, you can simply save and return to previous level. Now if you have a look at the subtotal there in the background, once I change and save, it didn't do anything. Sorry, I'll just repeat that again. Once you change and save, you can obviously load your previous operation by doing that, and you can then just change and save, and it should ripple down through the job and change it as it goes. Why it didn't do that, I don't know. Let me just doubly click that. I used this on the previous job, so just bear with me 2 seconds. The advanced options, I'm just going to load my code file again and say set a new value for hire to 130, labor minus 5%, and my concrete to say 3850. Okay, don't know what I did wrong the first time round, but you can see the overall job rate has changed, and if I go down into any of my rates, you can see that anywhere it saw the concrete 01 code, it applied the rate change down from €45 in that case to 38.50. Similarly, everywhere I use that, it will be down to 38.50. And similarly, if I go into my excavator and rates, you can see my rate has been reduced to 130, and a discount of 5% has been applied to the excavator labor. Now, as you can see, those rates have altered and changed. So should you ever need to go back and see what you did to those rates, you simply come back to the job summary, go to your tools drop-down menu, update trade rates, back into your advanced option, and then there's a function here to allow you load the previous operation. And when you load the previous operation, it will bring up what you've done. Now, it's not going to tell you where they came from or what they were changed from, but it will tell you what you did to the job. That's why it's crucially important to, before using the update trade rates function, to make a copy of your job so that you can always, or a backup, whichever, to see exactly how you came or where you came from. So that is a very quick run through of the update trade rates function. It is very, very powerful and allows you to be able to reflect changes to rates in the job at the last moment. So very quick webinar this morning, and thank you all for your time. We'll be sending you on, as I say, a link to the webinar movie and some support documentation when the last webinar is done, the last one being tomorrow at 8:30. So it'll be probably just before lunch, before you get the email. If anyone has any questions, if you can fire them into the text box at the bottom of your GoToMeeting control panel. I'll stay online for a couple of minutes. So thanks again for your time, and I hope that was useful. Oh, just before I go, just to reiterate, the fourth and final webinar in this series is on the 13th of July, which is this day 2 weeks, and it will cover the top 10 support issues that come through on our support lines here. Things like importing and exporting from Excel, importing and exporting from site, using the REL column in the quantity build-up sheet, and various other ones that are commonly used and asked of. So that will be on the 13th, and an agenda will be sent out next Tuesday, and an invitation to join that as well. So thanks very much for your time, and as I say, if you have any questions, just fire away at the minute, and I'll stay online now for a couple of minutes. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.